Right. Let's do this one last time. So you'll have to please excuse my terrible PlayStation because it's incredibly slow. Also, I've never commentated this track, so I'm going to try and use their practice at the moment to figure out good camera angles. As we come through the tunnel, following this Mazda, screaming at the top of its lungs, sounds glorious going through the tunnel. We've got Suave out on track as well, the Tier 4 runner-up champion. We got the Tier 5 of Cap champion. These are the two championship runners, or championships that I commentated. That's why I very much know them. We then got Aurak, who I am going to have to very much refresh my memory on who is where. Starting Tier 6. Right, so we got Auto doing more auto things in practice and going the wrong way. Let's just jump in the comment section very briefly. Oh, I see what he's doing. He's practicing practice starts, fair enough. Crazy Flames, or those hidden flames, are not making a return this week. I have no idea, being honest with you. So we got Auto, the Tier 4 champion. We then got Cap, the Tier 5 champion. As we jump back forward, as I'm trying to find all the champions, we then got Aurak, the Tier 6 champion. Let me try and find the Tier 3 champion. Peachy, let's try and find him. Or her. As I'm lagging out like... Well, we got Katana and Prime Coil from Tier 3 instead of Peachy. I don't think Peachy has made it this evening in Tier 2. Let's have a little look. Trying to figure out. Just, you know, donutting things. Gotta make sure the engine's warmed up and the rear tyres are very warm. That's for sure. Let's have a little look through the grid. Once the race starts. So we got TLGG Zelda in first, we got Aurak in second, Zimmer in third, Cap in fourth. Zimmer replacing Nectar in Tier 5 because Nectar was unable to make it today. We then got Suave in sixth, Auto in... Well, I'll go through the grid in later on in the timers. We've got 5 red lights, who makes a good start as we all get away cleanly in the background. The Ferrari's made a good start, Cap's made a good start, Auto's made a bit of a good start against Suave. It's going further forward, Aurak's already taken the lead, Zelda's dropped down a position but it's getting swamped on the inside line and going through turn 1. Cap is already making up good ground, he's made it up to first position. Zelda's dropped position. Zimmer's moved up a couple of spots. Aurak's dropped down. Not like Aurak and Zimmer are having their own little battle. As further in the background, it looks like we have Auto going off the track. We got Ross up to P7. We then got Roblox going around the outside of Ramos. Further up ahead, BX has moved up to 6th. Auto's down, way down towards the back of the pack. Ross just about keeping it together. Cap doing Cap things in tier 5 and just streaking off up ahead into the lead. We'll come back to who's dropped right off of the back in just a moment. I want to have a quick look through the rest of the grid. Aurak's now dropped down to 10th as Roblox goes up the inside. Just behind that we got ADR, who was a little bit late to this session but managed to join us. We then got Auto down to 12th. We then got ITM down in 13th, having a battle with Auto and Dent, who's now down to 14th, and further back than that we got Katana, who's had a horrible start. Let's go back up to the front as we go into the tunnel for the first time. It's probably going to be, let's just jump on board, screw it, it's going to be a lot easier. And Ross goes up the inside of Zelda. Zelda falling back after being squeezed out at turn 1. Ross now up to 5th. Swabby now down to 7th. BX is up to 3rd. BX making big moves early on in this race. I haven't even gone through tyre compounds yet, as Ramos is going up the inside of Swabby. Swabby being hung out to dry a little bit as we complete the first lap of this race. Oh, as there's a huge chunk of lag as we got Cap in first, Zimmer in second. Cap is making up ground at the moment. BX and Prime Core are very much locked in together. We got Ross in 5th. Everybody, BX is on the mediums, Zimmer's on the softs, Cap's on the mediums as well. So the front 3 are doing a different strategy to everybody else behind. Let's go back and try and find ourselves a battle. We got ADR trying to chase down Swabby as he goes up the inside into this right hand hairpin. A good move from him. ADR, excuse me, as we got Dens trying to chase down and close up to Swabby as we go through this tight and technical complex. You don't want to go too hot and too fast because you're then off. Is that Ross? Ross is fat and eggs. I can't speak English this evening. Clearly I've not drunk enough tonight, as Ross has just found the barrier or been hit off, so he's now gone off into the dust. Has dropped right back. He was in 5th position, so he's now dropped 9 positions, excuse me. Further up ahead we got Roblox, still ahead of Auto, not able to clear Auto as quickly as he probably was thinking. Auto having made a mistake early on in the race has dropped down. Swabby's now trying to go around the outside of Ramos and trying to defend really from ITM. Not made it work. in. Okay, fair enough. Thank you, comment section, for clearly knowing a vast amounts more knowledge than myself. As we go over the narrow bridge into the tunnel for the second time, we'll stay on board with Roblox at the advantage. It's going to have a lot longer legs than some of the cars around it. It's not able to make it work at the moment going into turn one. Tricky braking area going through into this long right-hander, and then we go down over this bridge. It is looking good for T1 already, as the two drivers ahead have kissed the dirt on the inside of that corner as we come down the hill, plummeting down the hill, as Ramos almost looks like he did it. Oh, careful boys. That's very close. I'm not sure if there was contact there. I'm not going to say if there was or not. It's not down to me to decide that, as ITM bravely goes around the outside of Dens. Dens being hung out to dry there. So ITM is on a charge and we want to watch. Let's go further forward. I might try and do some of the cinematic. Going forward, Prime Core in fourth. Zimmer drops. He's now got half a second penalty behind BX. There's a penalty line, so kind of a harsh penalty line to on this track. It sort of negates really any straight line, potential straight line speed here. So Zimmer, the tier 5 driver, doing a fantastic job at the moment, staying in 3rd position, but BX is very much on the charge, having started pretty much near the back of the grid, holds the fastest lap at the moment. Now he's going to try and catch up with Cap, who is the tier 4 champion in that Lamborghini. When he was out ahead, what I noticed was he just charged, he was on the move. So BX has got his work cut out for him. Zimmer's in 3rd, not giving up yet. Going to try and stick to the back of BX as long as possible. We then got Bronco on 4th. We got Zelda in 5th, making good headway. We then got ADR in 6th. Ramos and Ramos defending from KTM. Well, KTM, that's a bike manufacturer, not a driver. ITM, excuse me, as ITM's trying to find a ways past, and we've got Denz just behind. So these three are going to be ones to watch for a little bit. I love how I just referred to an Italian driver to KTM, which is an Austrian bike manufacturer. That's going to go down really well. Can't wait for that. It's further ahead, up ahead. Zelda's had a problem. So Zelda's had a problem. Ramos has gone straight around the outside. ITM's going to try and go around the outside like he did with Denz on the previous lap. It's worked. Zelda's now being hung out to dry. Nearly cuts off the nose of Denz as Roblox is now joining this group just behind, and Swabby's not quite close enough actually to get involved in this scrap. So Den's going inside, Roblox trying to drive it around the outside, not quite going to work this time. I'm going to try different lines, set up this long bridge. Gets a little slippery on exits and not able to really capitalise on the straight line on a better exit. Wider line. Late apex going out of the bridge and around to the left. With a quick flick around to the right. Watch the crest of that hill so you don't spin out too easily, especially in the M6. What I found when the turbo just starts to spool up, going further forward. ITM's already cleared Zelda. Denz is still stuck behind the GTR driver. As Denz gets really good runs, so Zelda goes up the inside. Zelda tries to defend somewhat. Zelda on the medium tyres, so they'll be good for a couple of laps, a couple more laps before we hit the crossover point. What I want to know is, where's the soft runner? There, Zimmer's on the softs early. So Zimmer will be one of the first ones to go into the pits. Not sure if running the softs early is the way to go, but different strategies here. So speaking of strategy, I'm going to go. I believe so. It'll be up on the standings page. I believe, or the band cars already are up on the standings page. They are. If you have a look on the standings page, Ross posted it up on Discord today at about 10 o'clock. So let's go down to as Ramos tries to defend the inside, doesn't get the exit he's after. ADR's now trying to go around the outside in the Lexus. Oh no, excuse me, it's the other way around as Ramos has caught up to ADR. Excuse me, I just remembered which way around I'm going. So ADR nearly squeezed out the Italian in the Mazda, and here comes Denz. Denz is now right back with these two, well, they were initially two, now three drivers. As we go into the tunnel, Denz gets the move done already. ITM's just not really getting the corner he's after in the tunnel. So Denz already through up to 6th position. Now 6th. As Zimmer was in the pits, changing off that soft compound tyre after 6 laps. So a lot of the other drivers might be taking note of that. So Cap up to 2nd. We will join the front two in just a moment. Well, Cap is still in 2nd. We'll join those two in a moment. Prime up to 3rd. A little wide. Can Denz capitalise? No. Denz cannot capitalise at the moment. Whilst we stay on board, try and there we go. Let's go around the left-hander. under the rock formation. Denz has a moment. Go around the left-hander. Around the right over the bridge. Who gets the better exit this time? They all get about the same sort of exit. If anything, ADR's actually got the better exit out of the lot. ITM short shifting up to 6, trying to save a bit of fuel, trying to keep up with this group and also trying to extend his stint. Now, tyres, let's talk about them very brutally. No, we're not, as there's one time I look down, is the one time a mistake happened, so ADR looks like, I think he just drives it wide, hits the wall on the outside, so this allows Roblox straight up, Zelda straight back up, and ITM and Denz as well. So Denz is not under pressure from the Mazda driver, as we'll stay with these guys for just a moment. Let's ignore that thing because usually it's okay, as he says. As ITM tries to go around the outside of Denz, can he make it work? No, Denz has the inside line, but ITM has the better exit as we plunge down the hill. ITM short shifts and backs out of it. No, I say backs out of it. Short shifting up to top gear. Just slightly slow his momentum. Let's jump forward and join the top 2 as BX has got himself a 1 second penalty. That gap has dropped down a little bit. The last time we checked in on these two it was 4.1. Now it's 2.1. So the gap over the past 3 or 4 laps has dropped a little bit. It's going to open back up now. Prime's doing Prime, but I'm not sure if there was contact or not. Was that a... Sorry, I'm just looking at the livery. It's a Vitamo livery. Let's go, Ross knows what he's doing. We got Zimmer in 12th. Now onto the hard tyres. He's going to look at extending those hard tyres on as long as possible. We then got Kanata in 13th. We then got Orak in 14th. And then we got Auto bringing up the rear in 15th. Let's go back to this main group in the middle. Good timing as well. So Zelda has caught up to the Mazda driver, as we'll stay with this group for just a moment. So in this race, all 3 tyre compounds have to be used in this race. Hence why some people are on hards, mediums, and one driver was on softs. So it is a normal, basically a normal ALR feature, except for it's 33 laps and all of the compounds have to be used. Let's stick with these two for just another moment. So Denz kicking up dust, trying to grab every scrub of speed possible. Let's go further back. Let's see if we can find ourselves anybody that's closing in. Roblox is closing in a little bit. It's actually quite nice. I've got live timings. Suave's dropping off the pace a little bit, still holding 10th, but he's opening up that gap a little bit to Ross, who's now got himself a half-second penalty. It's not going to help him too much. Let's go back forward. How's the gap at the top doing? It is decreasing. So, Cap's tyres starting to go a little bit. BX's tyres are a little bit better. So that Ferrari not having the greatest of straight line speed, but it is good in the corners. As Denz is into the pits. So Denz is coming in on the end of lap 9. How is his tyres? They're okay actually. Interesting. So he's coming in a little bit earlier than I was thinking. Is he going to try and undercut Ramos a little bit? Ramos is was 4 seconds up the road. Anyway, let's stick with these two for a moment. So the gap has dropped down. I will keep an eye out on the map for some closer people. BX in the sequence of corners brought down that gap to under a second, so we are definitely staying up front at the moment, but Cap's got a slightly better exit. BX a tighter line than Cap. Can BX get into the slipstream? No, he's not quite able to get into the slipstream onto this back straight. He definitely will be by the start finish straight for sure, so we'll jump on board actually with BX as Cap takes a wider line. BX takes a lot tighter line, holding it really tight. Cap kind of misses the apex a little bit going through the tunnel around the right hander. This is very much striking distance for BX. We go over the narrow bridge. Let's jump on board with this angle so we can see through the tunnel what's going on. As Cap goes a little bit wide, BX has to lift out of it a little bit just to help keep the car rotating into the slipstream. Are we going to see a move into turn 1? Does Cap defend? Cap does not defend. Cap elects to stay in the middle of the track. Cap goes wide and out breaks himself. I don't know if there was contact between these two as well though. It looked like it might have been. Cap flashing the lights as we got two drivers further back. We've got Zelda and ITM in the pits as well, so we got a change of leaders, so it's looking good for tier 1 at the moment. Going further back, Prime is 7.5 seconds back. Ramos is very much catching up to Prime in the other Lamborghini on this racetrack. Further back than that, we got Roblox in 5th. We then got ADR in 6th. We got Swavi in 7th. We got Ross in 8th. Zimmer in 9th. Very much tucked into a battle with these guys as Zelda, as I can't do camera work, goes up the inside of Denz going through turn 1. Does he get the exit? No, Denz gets the exit, and so does Katana. Katana's now very much wrapped. I just yanked my microphone out of the cables. Oh, Zelda tries to late brake in, and that has not worked. That has not worked at all. So Denz is promoted up to 9th. This is blocked off Zimmer and now dropped down to 10th. So Katana's now got to try and get past Zimmer. ITM's gotten past. Auto's gotten past. Aurak's gotten past. And Zelda, with a really, really late lunge with a capital L at the very beginning of that letter, has not made it work. Has now dropped all the way down to 15th. I know Ross is racing, so it caps into the pits. This is going to very much release BX further afield with no pressure. Katana tries to go around the outside of Zimmer. Can he make it work? He can. Zimmer does not quite have the grip to compete with the M6 driver, so Zimmer slowly dropping down through the field. Katana up to 10th. Denz next one up the road as he's chasing down Ross. He's coming to within a second of Ross. Ross stays out, so we're on lap 10 of 33, so we're nearly a third of the, well, pretty much a third of the way there. We're a third of the way, officially a third of the way there now. So Denz clawed back a lot of time to Ross there on his fresh mediums. Ross is still on old hards, so Ross could very much try and go as long as possible on these. Ross looks like he's lagging just a little bit on my end, but it could be me. I don't know. Denz have a look. He does have a look as further up ahead. Swavi gets it all sorts of wrong, and so does Cap. What is going on with them two? So them two might have had an accident. So Katana goes through. Cap, I think Cap and Swavi have had an incident because Swavi's got massive damage. Oh my god. Cap's got no damage at all. Swavi's on all tyres with a lot of damage, so Auto goes up to 11th. It's not looking good for tier 5 and tier 6 at the moment as they are further back down the field. So Swavi now off auto drive. You know what we mean. Hang on, look. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't speak English, alright? Leave me alone. Stop. Now, going further forward back to the racing, let's try and find ourselves a group, as this lead group is just... yeah, they are quite far ahead. Going further forward, Ramos is very much closed up on Prime Coil. Let's stay with this group for just a moment. I'll keep an eye on Kanata. That's it, Kanata. I can actually speak English now. I've decided to switch my brain on. Kanata. Not Katana, Kanata. I'm trying to read things too quickly. So Prime Coil in second position, and BX is in first, way up ahead down the road. He's going to have to be a little bit careful this lap. He is on 12 lap old mediums. See what happens as we go round the right-hander. Ramos getting a lot better of an exit than Prime Coil. So Prime defends early and goes to the inside. Battle the brakes as we go around the long right-hander. Prime has the inside, keeps it tight, keeps the position. As we go over the bridge, we'll stay with these two for a moment before we go looking back through the rest of the grid for something going on. As BX is into the pits at the end of 12. What are we expecting from BX's? Both of these drivers opt to stay out. They're both on the hards. Roblox coming through the tunnel. Can he jump BX in the pits? As ADR comes into the pits as well. BX comes out. Let's go back through the rest of the grid. Ross stays out. ITM stays out as well. So does Kanata. Does Kanata have a look going through, looking, and then going into turn 1 as ITM defends the inside. Who squares it up nicely. As both drivers are now catching up with Ross, who's still stayed out on these old tyres. Kanata's also staying out on these mediums as well. I can actually say the name correctly this time, so you can stop bullying me in the chat. As we got a hay bale that's decided to join this race. As we plunge down the hill, both Mazdas are at it. Ross is lagging all over the place. They can't pull a one-stop. You have to use all three tyre compounds, the hards, the mediums and the softs. They just want these hard tyres to go as long as possible, so they can potentially run the softs at the end only for about 4 or 5 laps, I should imagine. As Ross is very much slowing up ITM at the moment. ITM's got a lot better of an exit than Ross. Ross is not able to defend in the Vitamo RX Vision. ITM goes through on Ross into the tunnel, so Ross down to 7th. Going further back, we got Cap into the wall around the on the outside. Was there contact with Zimmer then? Don't know. As the two Tier 5 drivers have battled out on the track many times over this season, Tier 5 have very much been the accident tier to watch. Alternative timeline, yeah, I think he needs to put a couple more pennies into the McDonald's Wi-Fi. Going further back, we got Zelda versus Orak for 12th position. Can Zelda catch up? Zelda, who only pitted, let's have a look, lap 8, oh, lap 9, lap 10ish, onto the soft tyres. So let's say he's done 4 laps, 5 laps. He's got a long way to go on those hards. Very long way. Going further forward, Cap and Zimmer for a battle for 10th. Cap trying to go around the outside. Can he make it work? No, the camper favours Zimmer on the inside line. So we keep an eye on these two going further forward. Kanata now has caught up to Ross. Kanata though on Very much nearly dead medium tyres. How's Ross's tyres? Only a little bit better. So I'm surprised Canata maybe didn't start on the hards. Maybe started on the hards and maybe extend the tyre lives out a lot more. What the hell is going on back here? Auto doing auto things is just span it by himself. Swavy's into the pits. I'm not sure what's going on here with what's going on there. Prime calls into the pits as well. This promotes Ramos up into the lead for the moment. Roblox still goes through. Dens carries on. Here comes BX, the net race leader. Does he jump Prime? He probably will jump Prime actually. He will, as Prime's still on the pit exit as we driving down the pit lane. ITM jumps Prime as well. Prime comes out. Does Ross catch him? Very much closes up. Ross still going. Cap has gotten past Zimmer around this lap. Orak is now into 10th. Auto after doing more auto things is up into 11th. Kanata into the pits, so is Zelda, and Swavy still there. I don't know what's going on here. He's on lap 13 and everybody else is a couple of laps ahead of him. Let's jump forward. Let's try and find ourselves a battle on track. I don't think there is one actually. I think the closest two may be these two, but it's not going to last too long. Ross is on 14, well 15, nearly 16 lap old tyres. Yep, now running a lap over into Lagos. It's a very interesting sound. So we've got a yellow flag for... Oh no! What's happened to BX? So BX was running really well. He's now got damage on front bumper, front right wheel and the rear bumper. He's now dropped down to 7th position, excuse me, and also has been passed by Ross. Ross struggling for traction. BX has already got the run. Is he going to have a look up the inside? He is going to have a look up the inside. So we are side by side going over this bridge around the left-hander. Does anybody back out? Ross just about keeps position. BX keeps it completely flat. Ross just about holds on. So Ross finally comes into the pits. So BX losing out time. Crucial time now. This is basically allowed Ramos almost a free pit, and I say free pit, but a very good pit stop, and it's also allowed Prime Coil potentially a free pit as well. Oh no, he pitted a lap earlier, excuse me. Clearly can't remember anything. So Prime's managed to jump Ramos in the pits, so the undercuts worked for Prime. 458 life, yeah. I don't actually know what happened. Going further back. Anybody close? No, Cap's got himself a 1 second penalty at the moment, so we'll stick with these guys up front. I'm going to keep my eyes glued to that mini-map. I want to see what else is going on. It's Prime. Slow medium corner. Ramos is all over the back of him. Swavy's finally left the room, so Swavy's not had a great race. This is something similar that happened to Interlagos in Tier 4 last week, as Ramos tries to go around the outside of Prime again. Prime defending nicely, keeps the inside line. Whilst these two are battling, this is now allowing BX to close right up on this group. Ramos has got a lot better exit than Prime. Both these drivers are on the same tyres. Prime's on just 1 lap older. Prime opening up the corner, using the curb on the entry, trying to open up that corner. Let's see what happens as we go into turn 1. Prime defends the inside for the right-hander coming up. Ramos tries to go around the outside, nearly closes the door, just about leaves enough space for Prime. Prime not quite able to keep up with that Lamborghini, so Ramos up to 3rd. around turn 1, which was a lovely overtake, may I just add. Okay. So we're coming up to sort of 2/3 distance. For those of you in here, I'm curious, who do you think's going to win? I'm very, very curious. Me? No idea. Further back, the exit's on the hard compound of tyre. So he started up on the mediums, he's now on the hards, going to try and make these now last to about probably lap 28, I should imagine. Slowly starting to catch up with Prime, going further back. Cap in 6th position, the highest tier 5 driver at the moment, closely followed by Zimmer in 7th. One of the tier 4 drivers, excuse me, has left us, which is Swavi. So the only other tier 4 driver at the moment is in plumb last. Glad I caught that. That is Auto, who's just 1 minute and 10 seconds behind Denz in 1st position. Going further forward, Orak and Zelda, the 2 tier 6 drivers, doing very well. Ross, who finally pitted after an extremely long time on track. Here comes Curse 101. No, I'm genuinely curious. I'm not going to name their names. Here's a lap up on everybody. As Zimmer comes into the pits to make another pit stop. Is he just doing tyres, or is he just going to do fuel? He's going to do tyres as well. Let's see where Zimmer comes out. Kanata coming over. What's Minister, I think. I'd only say the names wrong. Anyway, you know what? No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to be... No. Revenge is a dish best served cold, Lord Hans. You're probably going to dish it back out anyway, but we will see. Now ADR gone on to the soft tyres on lap 12. He's making them last to the potentially to the end of lap 18. So good job at the moment. Let's go further forward. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to be nice. No commentator curses coming from me today. That's Pyro. That's Pyro's role. That's Pyro's job, and he's not here. So, hopefully nobody's going to get a curse. Let's stick with this group. Now, ITM. Red on the fuel gauge. Low on the medium tyres as Denz comes in as well. So, Ramos can very much go on for a little while now. He currently holds the fastest lap in that Lamborghini. The Mazda driver goes on for another lap. There's BX. BX is coming over the line at the moment. He's definitely gotten past, obviously, but gone past Benz. Denz. Now, Denz has put... he's gone to the soft, so he's gone for a lighter car on the softer compounder tyre. Roblox is way too far back, so Cap now up ahead on track against Denz. I can't speak English tonight. Let's go further forward. We'll probably stick around this area for the moment, as these I think are the closest cars on track. No other tier is one RSC except tier 1, I believe. Interesting. Prime through these sequence of corners is very much caught up to the Mazda driver. Fresher tyres is also helping him, of course. I go round the right-hander. Does Prime get a better exit than ITM? Get about the same, if not. ITM's got slightly better. Go round the right-hander. That McLaren has very much closed that gap up to the back of the Mazda as we go around this right-hander onto the bridge. We got a 1 second penalty. I can't even go back and re-watch that, so interesting. Is it when you hit those curbs? So I just want to let's go through this kinetics. I want to figure out where they got that 1 second penalty. Is it when they touch this? Wow. Okay. Can't touch the bollards. Wow. Okay. So that 1 second penalty is going to really potentially harm Prime, because BX isn't too far back. BX can't quite see the fact that that Prime's got a penalty. He's not quite close enough to see it. But he's very much closing that gap there. We just saw a glimpse there. If BX was looking around the corner, he might have just glimpsed a red line below Prime's name. So we'll stick on board with BX for a little bit longer. I want to see, does Prime keep hold of second position? Right, BX definitely knows he's got a penalty now, so the closing up, very much closing up. Prime just about keeps hold of it. So 1 second penalty is probably worth nearly about 1.5 seconds on track, kind of. Let's stay on board with BX, as we are probably not the two closest drivers on track at the moment. Go through the tunnel onto this long start-finish straight. Well, I say long start-finish straight. Start-finish, kind of long. Go up the hill, round the left. Is BX close enough? No, that McLaren is just a bit too quick in the straight line this time around, so Prime's safe for now. Let's quickly go through the rest of the grid. We got Dent in 4th, Royblocks in 5th, sorry, ITM in 6th. That's the way around I want to put things. We got Kanata in 7th. We got Ross in 8th. We got ADR in 9th. We got Cap in 10th. Rounding off the top 10, we then got Zimmer in 11th, Aurak in 12th, Zelda in 13th, and Auto bringing up the rear in 14th. Let's go back to these guys. As we are just touching 2/3 race distance. A lot of these drivers still potentially have the softs, well, kind of any tyre really. There's a lot of mix up. It's hard to keep track. Now, this time BX is a lot closer to Prime. Prime's very much got a better exit than BX. BX is struggling on these hards, struggling to get the drive out of that corner, going over this bridge as we come up to the tunnel. So Prime managed to eke out quite a sizable gap actually. Let's have a look as Dens for you. Dens is on the softs. Yes, he's starting to catch up with BX. Let's go back through the grid so everyone can have a very... Yeah, gaps increasing for Prime Coil over BX. Let's go through the grid very quickly so people who are wondering what tyres their drivers are on, they can have a very quick look as ITM very nearly finds the embankment. Going further back, we've got Kanata. Yes, I can finally say the name correctly in the GR inspired BMW. Interesting. Nice looking livery actually, I'll give it that. It's very nice. Suits the car actually. We then got Ross just further back on the mediums. We then got ADR still on the softs. Did he just do it? I think he just pitted for another set of softs, which I can't see why you're not allowed to do it. I believe ADR is also the only Lexus on this grid, so there are 12 different manufacturers on this grid, which I'll let you be the judge of that, GMS, as Ross is now very much under pressure from the Lexus as we go plunging down the hill. Ross on the mediums, ADR on the soft tyres, as Ross is glitching all over the spot, which isn't making things easy for the American driver. I want to watch these two for another couple of corners before I jump back up to prime coil on BX. Let's jump up quick. How's that gap looking? Prime's opened up that gap quite a bit, and the gap from Dens to BX is very much closing as well. So I want to stay with these guys. So ITM's got himself a penalty as well. So Kanata now up to 6th. ITM down to 7th. I want to stay with these guys at the moment as before we go back through the rest of the grid. Let's go up the hill, left, right, don't hit the bollards, mind the exit of that corner over the slight bump. Charging over the bridge, that gap is very much coming down. Can ADR have attack into the first couple of corners? Let's find out. Ross defends inside, no slipstream used by ADR, keeping it quite tight. Can ADR try and sneak around the outside? No. Does he look for the switchback exit? Tries to, doesn't make it work, so we'll rejoin these guys in just a moment. We then got Cap in 10th, Zimmer in 11th, Orak in 12th, Zelda in 13th, and Auto still down in 14th. We'll rejoin this battle up here before we go further up ahead. ADR nearly finds the inside line, and Ross very much has a Lexus bumper in his rear right wheel. So ADR's now got a bit of a gap to catch up. Further up ahead, we got ITM versus Kanata. ITM on a lot fresher tyres than Kanata, actually. I believe this is the second set of mediums. I could be wrong. So I could have sworn he brought the first set of mediums a very long way, 14-15 laps into this race. ITM's got a lot better exit. We go over this bridge, past the penalty line as Kanata tries to defend around the outside. ITM gets the inside line. Dens is into the pits. Not going to quite close up enough to BX. Let's go further forward. Prime's opening up that gap as well. Go further back. ITM's very much opening out that gap now. Go further back a little bit more. ADR's still chasing down Ross. Ross doing a fantastic job at defending. Yeah, he doesn't know what to do with two Rosses on track. No, because 1 second he's to the left, the next second he's to the right. This time slipstream is used. As we got Dens just coming out of the pits. ADR is very late on the brakes. Does get the inside line. Can he make anything of it? There's a little bit of a nudge with Ross as we come charging down the hill. Ross has the inside line for the left. ADR, as I come back, sorry, I'm picking the wrong camera angles. ADR backs out of it, so Ross maintains 7th position as we're over 2/3 race distance now. As we go around the right-hander. So for those wondering, Dens has come back out on the mediums. Ross is still on set mediums. He pitted at the end of 15, start of 16. So really Ross will probably want to get another at least 4 or 5 laps on those mediums before he looks at switching to the softs. We're starting to eke out a little bit of a gap to ADR. I think room at the potentially at the crossover between the effectiveness of the softs and the mediums. Let's stay on board with the Lexus driver for another couple of corners. That gap is steadily opening up, he says, as ADR has a fantastic exit and a great right hand corner going over the crest of the hill, back in the slipstream. Does touch the bridge to try and open up that exit. It's going to lose a little bit of momentum, gain it again. So ADR is now going into the pits. So the battle for 7th is over at the moment. Let's go further forward. Now the gap to Prime is okay, it's slowly starting to drop now. So Prime opening up the lead. Ramos on the other hand is just extending and extending and extending. He's got about a 10.5 second lead to Prime. Slowly going back through the field. Let's see if we can find ourselves a battle. I don't really think there is going to be a battle. Dennis is just opening out that gap to Ross, lap after lap. Let's try a bit of cinematic camera angle for a little bit as we got Cap and Zimmer in 8th and 9th respectively. We've got Orak in 10th, Zelda in 11th, we then got Kanata in 12th. Then we've got ADR coming out of the pits. Oh, camera angle over the hills there was a quite nice view. Onto the hard, so I believe he's going to go on to the end now with 8 laps to go. Then we've got Auto with 1 second penalty. Auto's not having the race he was hoping for. Not giving up, he's going to try his best, trying to catch up. I think he's still got one more pit stop to make. So he's going to drop further back from ADR, especially after this penalty. Kanata slowly starting to catch on to the back of Zelda. Kanata on the softs. Zelda on very well used hard compound tyre. To go through the tunnel. Can Kanata use soft tyres to really close up the gap to the GTR driver? Very much does. That was their contact with the bollards though. That was very close. There was contact. It was only slight, so there's a half-second penalty. Does Zelda give room? Does give room. Doesn't quite get the switchback he's after. Zelda goes very... Oh, what is going on? So Zelda trying to get into the pit lane. Thankfully does lift out of it though. So Kanata up to 11th. Let's go further forward. Any battles on track? No, but the BX versus Prime is kind of coming down a little bit. So BX started on mediums, he's on the hards now, he's been on the hards for a little while. Prime's had a good corners. Yeah, could have been dodgy. Let's go further back. Roblox on very well used medium tyres. Probably got about another lap or so in them, I reckon. Let's see what he does. Does he come into the pits or does he stay out? Stays out. Let's go through the rest of the grid. Dense is good to the end now. It would have been funny, but also it would have been quite bad, because Zelda would have definitely gotten a penalty, and probably quite a harsh one. Going further back, there's a couple of... Ooh, there's a lag spike and a half. Orak in the other McLaren, down in 10th position, losing time to Zimmer, but Zimmer is in the Supra, never mind, he's going to gain it all back because he's going into the pits. So Cap in 8th, Orak now up to 9th. It's going to promote Kanata up to... Kanata, excuse me, not Katana, Kanata up to 10th position. Then got ADR up to 11th. Let's see, does Zelda, who's now gone onto the mediums, will stay out on these tyres till the end. Does he manage to jump Zimmer? No. Zimmer's going to come out. The gap between these two is still about the same. So both these drivers have probably got to come in at the same time as well. Ramos comes into the pits as well. So the top, I'm expecting the top 3 to come in. Prime does come in. Does BX come in? BX does come in. He's had a good couple of corners, has reeled in Prime just a little bit. Prime's got slight advantage on fuel though. Excuse me, as Roblox also comes in. ITM potentially coming in as well, as he can extend out a lap. BX, so Prime's gone onto the softs. BX has also gone onto the softs, but slightly lighter on fuel. Denz is caught right up to this top group. Is he going to be close enough to close in on BX? Don't think so. Not quite close enough, but Denz is on the softs. Everybody ahead of him is... Denz is on the mediums, excuse me. Everybody else ahead of him is on the softs, and Ramos is just going to try and extend that lead just little by little. This is going to be a very interesting race at the end of this Race of Champions. Who's going to be consistent enough and who's going to have enough tyre left at the end. Going further back, Roblox is on the soft, ITM's on the soft, Kanata is on used soft, so he's going to have to come into the pits again. ADR's on the hards, he can go onto the end quite comfortably. Ross is onto the softs as well, but being pressured by Cap, who's also on the softs. So let's stick with these two, as we got Ross versus Cap, Tier 2 driver versus the champion in Tier 5, as Ross has got himself a 1.5 second time penalty. Ouch. So Cap can either do this one or two ways. He can have an easy pass and just wait to the penalty line, or he can potentially try and find a way past Ross, but look, judging the way of Ross's car, I probably would wait to the penalty line if this was me. Going further forward, both of these drivers are starting to catch up on the Lexus driver, who's on the harder compounded tyre as well. Going further forward, as Prime's had a moment. Sorry, I completely missed that. Prime's had a moment. So Denz is up to third, BX is up to second, as Ramos is now extending his lead by 2 seconds. Going further back, Ross has obviously dropped down because of his 1.5 second time penalty. So Cap's next target is the ADR in the Lexus. Let's go further forward. Who's close enough for a battle? No one's really close enough for a battle at the moment. Kanata comes in, so I'm interested to see where he comes out. We're not going to watch pit stops, we've all seen pit stops this season. Let's go further back. Sorry, I know I'm flicking quite a bit at the moment, I'm just trying to find some action. Penalty for literally flying around the corner. Yeah, very true. So Kanata comes out in 10th. Kanata onto the softs for the final 4 laps of this race. Zimmer has closed the gap up quite a lot, but it's probably going to start opening up now because Kanata's on to the soft tyres and Zimmer's onto the mediums. Who is that? As we got blue flags for Auto. So where's Auto going to let Ramos pass? It'll be here. So Auto puts his hazard lights on, lets Ramos know, I'm going to let you go through. Does Auto try and hook up on the back of Ramos though, to try and boost his race and catch up to Aurak, who's 33 seconds up the road? He's going to try to, he's going to do his best. So going further back, BX has opened up that gap to Denz just a little bit. It's now 3.3 seconds. Going further back, Prime has dropped down a little bit. Prime was initially 6 seconds back, now it's 6.6. Roblox starting to try and close up that gap to Prime for 4th position. Not quite able to at the moment. Being further back from that. We'll probably end up staying around this sort of region at the moment. So Ross has caught up to the back of ADR and to the back of Cap. Let's actually, we'll stick with this one because that is lax central at the back there. So ADR keeping a tighter line than a lot of the other drivers. As we go around the right-hander, we'll have to jump on board with Ross, so Ross very much chasing down this. No, that's even worse. I'm not sure which one's worse, whether we stay on board or not. Actually, I'll probably stay on board like this. Sorry guys, we're going to have to wait until Ross passes because it's not going to be too long, hopefully. So we've got the hards versus the softs. That's better. Stay like that. Stay like that. Nope, don't stay. Okay, never mind. Left-hander, I'm hoping and expecting a move onto this bridge. Ross tries to set it up. ADR tries his best to defend it as there's contact. Ross goes around. And ADR has a massive crash as well, so ADR lighting up the rear tyres, trying to get a good exit. He slammed himself into the wall. Ross has had absolutely nowhere to go, so he now drops. Kanata makes up a position, so does Zimmer. Is Zimmer going to try and make up 10th position? He's going to give it a go. Ross shuts the door very firmly. In Zimmer's, very much on Zimmer at the moment. Ross is very vulnerable at the moment, still with some damage. Going further back, we got Zelda and we got Aurak here as well, so if Ross isn't careful, he could drop all the way down. Yeah, maybe. So Zelda defending from Aurak. Let's keep an eye on the front. No, there's nothing going on in front, so the two tier 5 drivers having a battle going into turn 1. Zelda outbrakes Aurak. Aurak's trying to get the switch back. Can he get the switch back to work? Just about. There's a little bit of a nudge. As they say, Robin is racing. There's no spins or being spat into the wall. Zelda just about holds on 212. Zelda can get away with battling though. He's got the tyres, whereas Aurak's on the softs. If he's not careful, he's going to kill off his softs trying to get past one driver. Going further forward, Zimmer trying to catch up to the back of Ross. Ross has now recovered from the damage, so he's going to try and open up the gap. Well, technically not, but we're still in the race. It's still in season... What season are we in? Season 15. Technically still in season 15 because of the race of champions. So Aurak's now managed to find a way past Zelda, something I missed because I was busy looking at the chat, which I need to stop doing for 5 minutes. So Aurak's on a charge, gotten past Zelda. He's now going to try and chase down Zimmer. Going further forward, let's have a little look through the rest of the grid. Anybody close? No. So we're going to stay back with these guys back here. Zimmer's closed up the gap on Ross. No one touching the bollards. Good. Nobody touched the bollards, so no penalties in place. Zimmer got a really good exit compared to Aurak. So has Ross, but Ross is going to struggle a little bit on speed compared to Zimmer. Zimmer's got a much better exit than Ross. Can he get into slipstream range? And can he catapult that missile even faster? Not quite into slipstream range. As we get to the braking zone, Ross has a slight advantage. Although his tyres are going to start saying other things. Zimmer with tyre health advantage. Are we at the crossover between the mediums and the softs? It doesn't quite look like it. As there's a little lift there from Zimmer. Ross is able to keep it flat, so Ross is able to just about keep ahead at the moment. Let's go back further forward. As Ramos is on to the 33rd and final lap. He's got a 13.5 second advantage to BX, who's 5.5 seconds ahead of Dens, who's 6 seconds ahead of Prime, 8 seconds to get ahead of Roblox, who's 12 seconds ahead of ITM. Had an interesting race. Cap doing very well in 7th, who's 17 seconds behind ITM. And then got Kanata having a horrible first lap all the way down and last at one point, up to 8th position. ADR in 9th. Ross rounding off the top 10 at the moment. We then got Zimmer in 11th position. We then got Aurak in 12th, Zelda in 13th, and then bringing up the rear is Auto after having not the greatest of starts to a race, and it's just gotten worse from there, but we're going to stay on board with Ramos and those flames for the final half of this lap. Someone said earlier about don't bring the flames out. The flames are very much here, and they are very much burning brightly and hotly as Ramos comes over the bridge for the final time. Let's that V10 of the Hurricanes sing. Round to the right, doesn't hit the bollards, keeps it clean. He's got 13 seconds of open clean air to BX, so there's no pressure from behind. One more corner to go as we come through the tunnel for the final time. We listen to that V10 howl through the tunnel, and the race of champions is very much won dominantly by Ramos, who crosses the line. A fantastic job to Ramos. BX comes around the tunnel for the final time in second position, and here he comes across the line. It's a good race from BX. Den's not missing out on the win, he's missed out on the win just a little bit, but he's 18 seconds back. Fantastic race from Dens. Here comes Prime in fourth. Roblox for the final time in that. Well, I actually quite like that livery, I'm going to go out and say it. For fifth position, we then got ITM going through the tunnel for the last time. Listen to that thing howl. ITM comes over for a sixth position finish. Cap, the other Lamborghini driver, through the tunnel for the last time. Led this race for a little bit. Had an accident with Suavi, unfortunately so. Comes over in 7th position respectively. Kanata comes over to finish the race in 8th. We then got ADR coming over the line slowly, may I add. Ross is going to get him. Ross has now gone for 9th. No, he hasn't. ADR's got 9th. Ross has got 10th because of the penalty. Zimmer's in 11th. Aurak's in 12th. Auto's in 14th. And finally coming over the line is Zelda in 13th. And there we have it. Your race winner was Ramos. As we get through all this. There we have it, the race of champions. What an honour. Tier 2 with the fastest lap. Is anyone out on track? Nope, no one's out on track doing celebratory donuts, nothing. Nope, okay, you're all boring. No, I'm joking. You are very not boring. You're welcome. I did cock it up a little bit, I will admit. So there we go. Race of the champions for season 15 done and dusted. Congratulations to all of our champions who have either won or come runner up in their own respective tiers, and well done to Ramos, who has won the race of champions. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in season 16.